Welcome to Fuzzy Walrus Industries. I'm, of course, your humble host, Walcom S7. And today it's time for Tag Back, the show where every week we take a look at a blaster from the past to see exactly what it can offer us today in the present. And this time, it's, probably not going to offer us anything, but I didn't really know how else to do this video. It's one of the coolest things that I've got my hands on so far, though, because this blaster is old. And I mean, it's most likely, and I say that because there's no way I can find any information on it. I can't find another sale listing. I can't find a date. I can't find anything about this blaster. But just looking at the box and the quality of the plastic and how it's constructed and everything, this thing is ancient. This has to be from like the 60s. It is exceptionally old, making it the oldest thing I've ever looked at on my channel, for sure. This is gonna be interesting, but this could be considered the prototype of basically every blaster that we get our hands on today, because the design of this blaster is very, very similar to some very, very common Nerf blasters that we are using today. And that's just too freaking cool. This is the automatic super gun. Now you may be wondering, how the heck did I get my hands on this ancient thing? It's essentially an antique. I probably shouldn't fire it more than a couple of times, but we're gonna at least see how far it can shoot. It's included ammunition, and that's because this was sent to me by my good friend Soundboard. He's been sending me a bunch of random stuff recently, and this was one package that just showed up in the P.O. box that I have no real earthly clue of what exactly it was, and they couldn't find anything about it either, so this is gonna be a treat for pretty much everyone. As far as I know, this is most likely the only time this blaster has and probably ever will be featured on a YouTube video. Funny how I've been doing that quite a bit recently. And it's a cool little blaster. It is a pump action thing right here with a very, very dinky handle. If you thought things like what Blvd was putting out was an uncomfortable grip, this grip is tiny. With a trigger right there, it all feels like very thin and brittle plastic. Even the whole super gun decal right here is just about had enough of tape. The glue has essentially melted away at this point, and it won't be on there for too much longer. It's got fake little things for like a safety and select fire and stuff like that. None of that does anything. The front of the blaster looks really weird, and it almost looks like you could rear load it if you look at the back of the plunger right here. If you look at the back of the turret right here, it almost looks like it could be rear-loaded, but there's actually a tooth from the pump grip that interacts with the cylinder in there. It does have room for basically 2 loading slots on either side of the blaster with a cutout right there to be a cutout, I guess, maybe save on some plastic, and there's no paint application on it whatsoever, which is one of the reasons why I think this thing is incredibly, incredibly old. Weirder yet, it fires these little, they almost look like, I don't know, like badminton birdies or something. They're incredibly tiny pellet dart things, and they do call them darts on the packaging. And these are just, this one doesn't have a rubber head on it. I only have one that has one of the rubber heads on it, and I highly doubt that rubber head is going to last all that much longer, because rubber is one of those things that just kind of dissipates with age. But it just looks so weird, and the way you load them in there is you kind of have to get them perfect to fill into these holes in each one of the barrels, so it will actually create some kind of a seal. They do kind of fit in there rather nicely. The rubber on the edge of the dart there will actually make a seal, although I haven't been able to figure out if this thing actually uses some kind of, I don't know, either an air plunger or just a spring kinetic system. I have no idea, and I'm far too scared to open this thing, but judging by the size, I highly doubt there's any kind of air pressure building up in this blaster whatsoever, because it's just that there's no room there. You can see a plunger rod of some description, but yeah, and of course I'm not going to dry fire it to find out. That would be incredibly irresponsible of me. And to finish loading the thing, again, just kind of guide these things in there. Once you've primed it once and got the spring cock backed, really easy to just pull it back again and fill it up to 5 shots. The box does say it comes with 8. This one came with 5, but heck, at least we even got one of the boxes with the darts, which is just incredible. This thing is absolutely ancient. I'm really hoping it survives this video. but let's see exactly how this thing performs and try to get it on camera the best we can. I honestly don't have any clue. I've only fired this thing once, and that was into my hand, and it had a pretty good pop on it, so let's find out. It's a nice, shiny, beautiful day in Western Washington, and let's see what the automatic super gun can do. It is, of course, already primed and loaded, so all we have to do is pull the trigger and fire a dart off. We're going to try to do this as parallel to the ground as possible just to see what this thing can do. And that is not half bad at all. Now, granted, it's not a, Nerf blaster or anything like that, but for a toy this old, that wasn't too bad. Let's see what this thing can do with another shot, see if any kind of seal or something matters. Nope, it's about the same. So, we're gonna try an angled shot here, see if we can't get a little bit more range out of it. And of course we can, that's not too bad. Do another. Ooh, that one flew the farthest so far. That was the one that actually had the rubber on the end to make a suction dart. That means that these projectiles are probably too light for the actual blaster, and it can handle a little bit more weight. So, last shot here, we'll do another angled shot. And it was a little bit beyond that rubber suctioned dart. So, this thing is really, really interesting. As you can see, it works pretty much like any blaster, like a front-loading cylinder blaster that you could buy nowadays that shoots a foam dart. So, this is the granddaddy of those kinds of blasters. As you can see, the automatic super gun is not exactly all that bad. It's not exactly all that super either, but you play with what you can get, and I'm sure back then, again assuming this thing came out in like the 60s, I'm sure kids would have had a ball with this thing, because I know they did have like the little rubber pellets and stuff, and of course airsoft kind of things back then, and BB guns galore, and real guns, which is apparently what my grandfather played with when he was a kid. He used to tell me all sorts of stories of shooting at his friends with .22, like trying to take like the little propellers off their bikes and stuff like that. My, how the times have changed, but it's not all that, and does it really offer us all that much in the present? Nothing more than a unique and introspective look at exactly how far we've come in the toy dart blaster category, and my gosh, is this thing super cool. I'm humbled to be its current caretaker. I have no idea how many of these things exist, and like I said, it was difficult enough to find this one, as in there was one listing on eBay, and I highly doubt, even if you find it, it's going to be labeled as Super Gun, because this sticker is just about to fall off as is, so this might be one of the only ones, but of course I'm looking for more information. Of course, I did run this by my usual Nerf encyclopedia, which is the curator, and Triple B told me I have no clue. I ran it by a friend as well, and he said it probably came from like the 60s, 70s, so that's about all we know for the automatic super gun. But let me know what you think about this thing down in the comments section below. I'm really interested to get any kind of feedback, or hopefully even more information about this kind of toy from you guys, because that's the only way we're gonna ever learn anything more about this mythical beast. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm, of course, Walcom S7. Please hit the like button if you like this kind of content. I would really appreciate it. I know you can't see the likes and dislikes, but it's hidden for a good reason, i.e. the dislike bomber who's been using a Russian botnet to absolutely screw over my entire channel, and have been doing it for nearly 2 years now. So please hit that like button and hit that dislike button. I mean, I'm expecting all the dislikes. In fact, the last couple of videos I put up, the dislikes are relatively legitimate. So if this video sucked, well, that's one way you can let me know. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta